Hi guys, this video will cover ACT53 reading section. First passage. This passage is about the one a narrator's father, that how this guy was investment banker, and then it was very like philanthropic, which is like donating his money to all those things. But then the private life, that private space wasn't that clear for this the narrator, because there it talks about some secret things. It says that enigma means puzzle, right? And then it says anyway, certainly to his children he was constitutionally secretive, and nice to be let it on the secret. So even though he was doing like Jewish causes and supporting Jewish scholars and all those things, that the nice thing to do, but then to his own kids, not really. That's why it says he wasn't the kind of father I would have ideally wished for. And then also he wasn't invested on homely details of my existence. Later on, it says, what interested most, I couldn't go to him with my problem or my passion. So those are the one that, two faces that, the narrator's fathers and narrator, like herself. And then it says, communion that doesn't exist. So that's why superficial associations, it's like same thing that talks about. But then later on, once this narrator became the writer, um, this person tried to here I kept wondering what happened. All the bits of information he stored in his head, and then on little white notepads I found. So she tried to write everything on notepad. I found combination things he scribbled in his. Oh no, not that's not her. It's like his habit. And then uh, language means a lot to him. And then he wasn't given communicating his emotions either. And then it says when he came to literary gathering, I uh, where he greets everyone with a relish. Relish means enjoying, acting perfectly oblivious to anyone ungenerous about him. So oblivious means like forgetful. So he doesn't really care much about how like other people will treat him. Like that's why it says unembarrassable. And then it says, I miss his impersonal, yet oddly reassured presence in the world, sitting in the chair in his study, filled with his scholarly books, his round bald head covered with flat black crotchet yarmulke. Writing about me, he said shortly before he died, and squeezing my head, which was his version of hug. That's how, like, you know, the narrator's father was. So main theme of this one is talking about the narrator's father. So the answer is C, belonging. It says something about like he wasn't given communication his emotion. I had to guess something, and also he said that I missed his impersonal. So after her father died, she was missing her father, and also some sort of difficulty that, whatever she had with him. And number 2, narrator statement rarely visited her father at office most strongly suggests it is H, separation, father's public life and private life, because it says two faces here that, public face and private face. Number 3, try to discuss her life difficulties. So she couldn't, she actually like her father focused on how to resolve this one, because it said that, I couldn't go to him with my problem or my patient because he spoke the language of business like resolution. So that, he doesn't accept it as like, emotional thing. He's just like, oh, this is it, like formula, like this, you have to go like somewhere and do this and that. That was like, whatever giving her like a hard time with. When the narrator states, these days I found myself looking for my father. So if you go nearby, you probably find that, F, because it says right before that line, 46, it says, with its futile wish for communion that doesn't exist. And then wish for, that wish is the one that, she's talking about here. And then the narrator most clearly illustrates her father's early idiosyncratic and curvy mind. Idiosyncratic means unique. You cannot um, like synchronize means like you put together. You're like make um, harmony with other people. But then like her father wasn't. So, but then like it was something that how like all those details and everything, those notepads that I mentioned earlier, which is I think this right here. And then move on to number 6, narrator. Following detail as support for the claim that she knew her father took pride in her career as a writer is J, because they went to literary gathering together. That was like year, right? And then last paragraph characterized father most nearly as unique person, right? Because we talked about it, unembarrassable. That's like how unique he was. And following being coupled together, which is G. Oh, this looks like G. Because if you go line 21, it says he was kind of father. Image coupled together. That's what it is, right? So that's why it's G. And then number 9, narrator made clear that compare her interest in exploring feeling when she was a girl, her interest in exploring feelings at the time the passage was written was about the same, because it says 34, what interests me the most then as now. Okay, so now and then, both of them. So it's like she wanted to have attention from father. Narrator characterized the talks she and her father had studied the problem as like J, because it says infrequent time. I would officially meet with him in study, bothered on sacrosanct to discuss some girlhood difficulty. I would invariably find myself cut off at the pass by his decisiveness. So Yeah, that's what it says occasionally, which is infrequently. Next passage is talking about the boats that the Viking boats that whatever they found. It says you know Gokstad ship, and then they try to replicate, right? And then and also the whatever discovery in 1967 is the one that sort of giving them the motivation to rebuild this one. And then it says remnants of uh, the Viking ships they found, and then they have different types. So one was fishing boat, so then two cargo, and then 20 tons of loads, and one was warship, so about 30 people, so it's pretty big. And the fifth one was raider, so the biggest. And then they talk about the Skull del Lev 2 more specifically, and then they try to replicate this Skull del Lev 2 could only 20% they recovered. That's why they decided to replicate this. And then they talk about like the process, like oak planks and all those things, and then 8 builders had to replicate, and then sea stallion from this Irish village Viking used to find oak for their ship, and then blah blah blah. And then once they actually build it up, they try to test it out first, like sunny skies and nice weather, and then as a leisure, like pleasure cruise they did first. And then they tested out even tougher 6-week test. And once they did it, they fully loaded, and then they tried to do everything whatever they could do. And then it was pretty interesting how fast they could go, because it says 13 knots speed was. But then right now, high-tech America Cup racer, which is the fastest one, can go 20 knots. So which is compared to that, all days, and then doing that much is pretty impressive speed. And then under the dark sky, which is tough, and then it was pretty tough. But then after 6 weeks of testing, they came up with idea that um, like the sail was very stable and can make a lot of wind. And problem with rudder come again and again. And then it says the close quarters made sleeping nearly impossible. So because of that, whatever they had to do is take naps if it is time that they could. And then also it says um, amphibi- amphibious behavior, which is they land often just to get some rest. And that's why the conclusion is the ship like this could have been used for coastal raiding, because it's hard to sleep inside. And then summarize the passage is A, because Viking ship, and then they found it, and then they want to replicate, and then they test the voyage. So that's what all this thing about. Number 12 is which of the following conclusion about Vikings' knowledge of ship construction is best supported by the passage? It's a G, because size, design, weight, and all those are depending on the whatever usage. That's what we see from those the five ships that, the remnants of five ships. And then they, like, according to, like, whatever they found, they see that, different size, different design, and all for different purpose. Based on the number 13, based on the passage, the author would most likely agree with which of the following statement about sea sailing? D. Question about how Viking ships were used were partly answered by sea sailing, because it says, line 46, a test sail around this enjoys similar condition. Top 6 weeks planned this cruise sailing, on and on, like, and then, like, they could find whatever answers of some of the questions they had. And then sea sailing high tech is really fast, emphasize remarkable speed, because 13 knots compared to, like, current, like, fastest one. Indicated until discovery in 1962, researchers had mistakenly believed Norsemen had sailed in only one kind of ship, because it says right here, only one kind of ship. 16, it can reasonably infer the passage that one reason the researchers constructed replica of this one is they try to, like, they didn't know, like, before, because only like 20% was recovered. It says 20%. So they want to, like, figure out everything too. According to passages of this oak tree where they found. So it was here used to find oak for their ships. 18, this vessel expedition in summer 2006 is described as virtual pleasure cruise, because earlier voyage is just the testing out, in the good weather, like it says sunny weather, like here, sunny skies, right? And then shorter duration, which is 4 weeks instead of 6 weeks. Amphibian behavior, because they have to stop by all the time, so which is B, because they have to rest. Because of that, number 20, they could go coastal settlement. Yeah. But at the end, the last paragraph, you can see both of them. Next passage, passage A, talks about this Basil Twist is the name, right? This guy is talking about how, it says little old-fashioned. And then the question, old-fashioned? Do you know how much this person did, like, different? It says 1,000 gallons of tank of water, and then animated scenery with electric fan, and then like different things. This is like revolutionary. That this is like innovative things. That's why, like, there are a lot of Baroque music played in strange instruments, but it wasn't puppet show, and decided would create visual equivalent of music work. That's another huge difference that, this guy was doing. And then, yeah, and then that, the part of it is silk that swirled and swooped to violin melody could be image of protagonist beloved, or it could be his mood, and could be breeze, or of them rigid vertical form could be vision of prison bars, and blah blah blah. So question 21, red beads and this primarily too. It's an example of how he's innovative, because in the beginning, how much water that he used, and then electric fans and all. So that's like non-traditional. So it's like opposite to old-fashioned. 22, everything else is good, because if you go line 20, it says fabric, feather, tinsel, poles, non-figurative, blah, blah, blah. But then one thing doesn't work is electric fans. Electric fans is not symphony fantastical. It's for the Red Bees. Red Bees, he animated scenery with electric fans. That's why everything else but 3, so G. Clear most nearly means, if you go 35, it says clear identity. Infuse that in a clear identity. That clear identity is only like one specific thing. That's why definite identity. And then passage 2 talks about how music inspired choreography. And then it says something about, same like in a thing that, how symphonic, fantastic, but then it says, the music and everything too, and the cast they're talking about is swirling characters ranging from geometric, not like flat shape, to anthropomorphic, which means we try to like make it more like before then it was 2D, two-dimensional thing, maybe three-dimensional. That's how like different it is. And then the music itself was more like emphasized here too, like symphonic composition come down to us shot through this with impetuous passion. Its 5 movements each have poetic heading, blah blah blah, and then like it has to be individual image, all those things that whatever they think of, showing about specific things about how they try to like make it more lively. And then the aquatic world through which symphonies recurrent white figure wind, slip and straight is rich with a musical motivated activity. Sometimes, especially in the little pauses between movements. And you can hear some sloshing from puppeteers, to prepare like next scenes and everything. But then it wasn't like this, rather than distraction from the dreamlike nature of silken proceedings, these signs of human activity help giving show added gravity. So everything how like good it was, like it's just like praising about this thing. Twist symphony fantastic. What could best describe as open appreciation? It's good because at the end of the passage it says that theatrical marvel, all more amazing. And 25, author put quotation mark around characters. 57, if you go, it says cast of floating and swirling characters ranging from geometric flat shape to all those things. So the characters are from like everywhere. Push the limit. Yeah, push the limit on characters. And then 26, according to passage B, following requirements if the Berlioz specified regarding the use of symphonic fantastic. It's G, because it says that it has to be printed. Line here, movement title printed. Okay, 27 signs of human activities, sloshing sounds, human activity. That's what it says. 84, right? And then both of them together, main difference, the scope of information presented to passage is F, because one is more focusing on, symphony itself, and the other one is like, how Twist himself was making like a symphony, but then B is more about somebody else's, like, reviewing about the symphony. 29 include more information. Original symphony. Yeah. Passage B talks about how, like here, right here, this is the one, 63 from there. And then next, last one, it talks about like agree overall feeling of this created to his symphony could best describe as dreamlike, because it says 85 dreamlike nature. Okay. And also it says feeling of being pursued and being doomed, and of all of them. Last passage is talking about this. This is like in how this tree, the popular tree, became like how it actually cleaned the pollution um, from this Argonne National Laboratory. Actually, like pollute the area, but then once they actually had that trees, um, it actually like cleansed the pure. I mean, like put the it says out of the ground, the pollutants out of the ground because of the tree roots goes down and then sucking up all those like polluted the water, and then purify and then burn it at the end so that um, like through the solar, so that it just goes away. And then one successful experiment happened, and then they try to apply that to another one, Murdoch, Nebraska. And then it talks about all good things that whatever happened to them. And the primary purpose of this one, obviously, how um, clean up the contaminated water. So if you see here, pump contaminated water to treatment plant. And the main purpose of first paragraph is G, because how they had done like an ongoing attempt to remove these contaminant occupied blah blah blah. And then 33 is according to extraction well that removing contaminated water because tree can sick out the contaminated water by itself. If it is one like pump that the static machine, it just like stay at the same position, but then this natural pump, which is tree root, can go around and find, it's like water loving, that snake down or fan out, try to find the moist. So we don't need to worry about moving around different like pump and stuff like that. The last paragraph, the popular may eventually become viable source of energy, because it says as a possible source of ethanol for biofuel. And then according to passage, popular willow and argon place plastic lined, because they want to keep the root in a way that wherever way that they want to send it to. So that's what it says here. Plastic lined pits to force the roots tunnel deep for drink. It doesn't go spread out to the like place that is not contaminated. According to the passage, ultimately happen to contaminants in tree organ. They break down in the sunlight. That's what it says here. From there, and then transfer pour, and the water evaporates, and sunlight breakdown. And then 37, contamination levels at argon generally run high. Which season? Summer, because it says summer peak. 38, according to the passage, this H3, no permanent sign of pollution. That's what it says here, no sign of contamination. And then it's based on the passage, this can best, so this is the like process of clean up the pollutant, right? So that's why it's A, using the tree remove contaminants. And then 40 passage more strongly suggests that nitrate can be F, the contaminant, and nutrient, because it says here, meanwhile, all trees seem to have enjoyed unusual rapid growth thanks to another pollutant, which is nitrate. Okay, that's it for reading passage, and I'll come back with the science section soon. Bye-bye.